Hi, you guys. Let's talk about decimal operations and equations with decimals. First of all, let's review adding and subtracting decimals. Notice how they want us to find the sum of negative 1.7 plus negative 3.4. Well, when both of the numbers are negative, they're just going to join together. So look over here. I just added negative 1.7 plus negative 3.4 and just add them together, and you would get negative 5.1. Okay? Take a look at B. It says find the difference. And remember, when we see this going on, the minus the negative, we want to let them morph together to make a big giant plus sign. So I wrote it over here. So negative 21.29 minus negative 34.62 becomes negative 21.29 plus 34.62. Now when you're adding and the signs are different, remember it's a battle. The positives are going to win. So I put the positives on top, the 34.62. I put the losers on the bottom, 21.29, and I subtract. And that gave me 13.33. Remember, my answer is positive because the positives had more. Okay, let's look at the checkpoint. Find the sum or difference. Look at number 1. Negative 2.8 plus negative 5.9. Well, they have the same sign, so we're going to add them together. They just join together. So I set it up, negative 5.9, and underneath it I write negative 2.8. Notice how the decimals line up, and I just add them together. And that gave me negative 8.7. Take a look here at number 2. 7.12 minus negative 3.46. Well, remember, when it's minus a negative, we add a line and change the sign. So they morph into a big giant plus sign. And so look at how I set it up. I lined up the decimals and added them together. And so that gave me 10.58. Okay, multiplying and dividing decimals. Look at A. We're going to multiply negative 0.4 times 13.7. Well, remember, they have different signs, so the product is going to be negative. But let's show the work over here. Look at A. I have 13.7 on top just because it has 1, 2, 3 digits. And I put the 0.4 down below, and I multiply. And then after I multiply the numbers, I want you to notice, count how many digits are after the decimal. So I see 1, 2 numbers total after decimal points. So I have to grab my decimal point and drag it back 2 spots. So my final answer would be negative 5.48. And so that's the answer I boxed here. Take a look at B. A negative 2.5 times a negative 6.75. Well, a negative times a negative is going to make a positive. Same signs, product is positive. But look at how I set up my work here. I put 6.75 on top because it had 3 numbers, and 2.5 down below because it had 2 numbers. And then I multiplied. I showed all my steps, and I got 16875. Now count how many numbers are after the decimal point. I see 1, 2, 3 numbers after the decimal point. So I drag my decimal point back 1, 2, 3 spots and put it between the 6 and the 8. So that gave me 16.875. Take a look at C. With dividing, I always use this little trick, like In-N-Out burgers. So it's negative 23.49 divided by negative 2.9. In and out. So when I set it up, I did it over here. Look over here. I crossed out number 4. So I put the 23.49 on the inside and the 2.9 on the outside. And then take a look at the outside number. You always want to make that a whole complete number. So grab the decimal point and move it one place to the right. Whatever you did on the outside, you have to match on the inside. So grab that decimal point and move it one place to the right. And then I bring it straight up so I know where it goes in my answer. And then I did my long division, and I got 8.1. Now remember, my quotient was positive because it was a negative divided by a negative. When the signs match, same signs, the quotient is positive. And so I boxed my answer. Take a look at the last one, D. I had 18.05 divided by negative 1.9. Well, remember, the different signs, the quotient is going to be negative. And then also use a little in and out trick. The first number goes on the inside, second number goes on the outside, in and out. And so on the outside here, the divisor, I want to move that decimal point one place to the right. Whatever I do on the outside, I have to match it on the inside. Grab the decimal, drag it one place to the right, bring it straight up. Then you want to do your long division, and this came out 9.5. I just have to remember to put a negative on my answer. So it's negative 9.5. And then take a look at number 3 in the checkpoint. Multiplying, well, a negative 2.8 times a negative 5.9. I know my answer is going to be positive. And then I just set it up and did my work, 5.9 on top, 2.8 on the bottom, and I multiplied. Then I counted 2 numbers after the decimal point. So I grabbed the decimal and moved it back 2 spots, which gave me 16.52. Solving addition and subtraction equations. So let's take a look at A. X plus 6.3 equals 4.8. Well, the first thing we're going to do is write it out exactly like we see it printed. X plus 6.3 equals 4.8. Circle your variable, bring that wall down underneath the equal sign. And then look at what's touching the circle. I see adding 6.3. Well, I'm going to use the inverse. So I subtract 6.3 on both sides of my wall. Now, I let the x drop down. A positive 6.3 plus a negative 6.3 destroy each other. Let the equal sign slide straight down. And then I have to do a little bit of the arithmetic. 4.8 minus 6.3. Well, notice with the minus, I added a line and changed the sign. Now it's positive 4.8 plus a negative 6.3. Well, they're going to battle because the signs are different. The negatives are going to win, so I put the 6.3 on top. The losers, 4.8, are going to go on the bottom, and I subtract, and I got 1.5. And then I just have to remember that since the negatives had more, my answer is going to be negative. So it's x equals negative 1.5, and I box my answer. Take a look at B. They gave me y minus 5.74 equals negative 3.51. Well, I circle my variable. I add a line and change the sign where I see subtraction, and I bring that wall straight down underneath the equal sign. Now remember, take a look at what's touching the circle. I see adding a negative 5.74. So I know I want to destroy it, so I'm going to add a positive 5.74 on both sides of my wall. I bring the y down. Negative 5.74 plus positive 5.74 destroy each other. They become 0. Let the equal sign slide straight down. And then you have to do some arithmetic. Negative 3.51 plus positive 5.74. Well, the positives are going to win this battle. So I put the positives on top, the losers on the bottom, and I subtract. And I get 2.23. And remember, it's positive because the positives had more. So I have y equals 2.23. Okay, take a look at the checkpoint, solve the equation, and remember, you don't have to check your solution, you just have to show your steps for me. So take a look at number 5. X plus 5.6 equals 9.4. Circle the variable, bring the wall straight down. Now look at what's touching the circle, adding 5.6. So I do the inverse. I subtract 5.6 on both sides of my wall. I let the x drop down. A positive 5.6 plus a negative 5.6 destroys each other. They become 0. I let the equal sign slide down. And then I have to do a little bit of arithmetic. I subtract, and I get 3.8. Remember, it's positive because the positives had more. Take a look at number 6. Negative 3.5 equals y plus 1.2. So I copy the equation, I circle the y, I bring my wall straight down. Look at what's touching the circle, adding 1.2. So I know I want to subtract 1.2 on both sides of my wall. Well, remember with subtraction we add a line and change the sign. So here I have negative 3.5 plus negative 1.2. The signs match, so they're just going to join together. They add together to give me negative 4.7. I let the equal sign slide down, I let the y slide down, and of course positive 1.2 plus negative 1.2 destroys each other. They become 0. Take a look at number 7. M minus 5.3 equals negative 7.2. Well, circle your variable, bring that wall straight down, and look at where I saw minus, I added a line and changed the sign. Now take a look at what's touching the circle, adding negative 5.3. Well, I know I want to destroy it. I want it to become 0. So I'm going to add a positive 5.3 on both sides of my wall. I'm going to let the m slide down. The negative 5.3 plus positive 5.3 destroy each other. I let the equal sign slide down. And then I have negative 7.2 plus positive 5.3. Well, the negatives have more. They're going to win the battle. So look over here. I put the winners on top, the losers on the bottom, and I subtract. And I get 1.9. Remember, it's negative 1.9 because the negatives had more. Take a look at example 4, solving multiplication and division equations. Okay, take a look at A. I have 0.8m equals 4.8. Well, I circle my variable. I let the wall come down. Notice how the 0.8 is being multiplied by the m. So that's what I see, multiplication. The only way to destroy multiplication is to divide both sides by 0.8. And that's what I did. So 0.8 divided by 0.8 gives me that invisible positive 1. I let the m slide down. I let the equal sign slide down. And then I have 4.8 divided by 0.8. Well, remember the in and out trick. I can move that decimal point to make the outside number 8, and then I have to move the decimal point to make the inside number 48. So 48 divided by 8 would give me positive 6. Take a look at B. N divided by 5 equals negative 2.15. So I circle my variable, I bring my wall down, and then I take a look at what's touching the circle. I see dividing by 5 is touching my circle. That's what I want to destroy. So I use the inverse. I multiply by 5 on both sides of my wall. Well, my n slides straight down here, but the 5's cross-cancel to become that invisible 1 in front of the n. The equal sign slides down, and then I have to do negative 2.15 times 5. And so I did that over here to show my work, and that gave me 10.75. Remember, it's negative because a negative times a positive makes a negative. The signs are different, so that makes it negative. Okay, let's look at this last checkpoint. Solve the equation. Remember, you don't have to check your solution, you just have to show every step. Take a look at number 8. 6x equals negative 43.2. So write the equation exactly like it's printed, circle the variable, bring the wall straight down. Look at what's touching the circle. It's multiplying by 6. So you use the inverse. Divide both sides by 6. And so 6 divided by 6 creates that invisible 1. The x slides down, the equal sign slides down, and now use the in and out. So I did it down here. The 43.2 is on the inside, the 6 is on the outside. The 6 is already a whole number, so I don't have to move the decimal point. I just bring it straight up in my answer. I did the division, and I got 7.2. Now remember, it's a negative 7.2 because a negative divided by a positive makes a negative. Take a look at number 9. Copy the equation exactly like you see it. Y over negative 3.1 equals negative 8.4. Circle your variable, bring the wall straight down. Now look at what's touching the circle. I see dividing by negative 3.1, so I use the inverse. I multiply by negative 3.1 on both sides of the wall. And so negative 3.1 over negative 3.1, they cross-cancel to make a giant positive invisible 1. Bring the y straight down, bring the equal sign straight down, and then you just have to multiply negative 8.4 times negative 3.1. I did my work right here, and I got 26.04. Now remember, it's positive because a negative times a negative makes a positive.